While many monster myths and folklore originate from ancient stories told around a campfire long ago, some are much newer and spring up in our very backyards. Join us now at Tales of Earth while we take a look at the legends of the Jersey Devil. So let us begin at the supposed birth of the creature itself. The Pine Barrens of southern New Jersey was considered an inhospitable land in the early days of America. Those who chose to live there, or those who could not afford to live anywhere else, were considered the lowest of class. The woods teemed with highwaymen, robbers, and brigands who would rob and murder those who were foolish enough to travel through the woods. It was here that Jane Leeds found herself in 1735, married to a drunk and useless man, barely surviving. Yet still, in that year, Jane found that she was pregnant with her 13th child. While large families weren't uncommon in the early days of America, this was still considered abnormal. Learning the news of this new mouth to feed, Jane was rumored to have cursed the child, crying that the devil could take this one. Apparently, someone was listening. On a stormy night, Jane went into labor. Everything seemed to be fine and the child was born, normal and healthy, except that it quickly began to change. Bat-like wings sprouted from its back and it grew a tail. Its head shifted into that of a goat and claws extended from his hands, while its feet formed into hooves. According to some stories, the demon child killed everyone in the house that night before it managed to escape into the barren forest around them. Now, this seems to be the accepted birth of what would become the Jersey Devil. However, it is also worth noting that some believed Jane Leeds to actually be a witch and that the father of the creature was in fact the devil. Also, some historians have pointed out that the Leeds family themselves were actually a family of Quakers that lived on Leeds Point. However, they were pushed out of the Quaker community. The reasons for this date back to the late 1600s, when Daniel Leeds published an almanac that used astrological signs, which was deemed too pagan for the Quaker community. Perhaps out of anger, or a strange sense of humor, Leeds continued to publish his almanac and used even more strange symbols, dipping into the occult for the writing. It is possible that these facts could have helped in the origins of the Leeds Devil, which would later be renamed the Jersey Devil. Okay, so that was the history lesson of the Jersey Devil. What would follow in the 18th and 19th centuries were sporadic sightings of the creature throughout the Pine Barrens. People who were brave enough to venture into the forests at night reported seeing the creature amongst the trees and hearing its demonic wails in the dark hours of the night. Parents would speak of the Jersey Devil to their children, using it to frighten them into going to sleep and behaving. Several reports indicate that hunters or landowners would see the creature and fire upon it, to no avail. Anytime there was a string of murders among livestock or house pets, it was blamed on the Jersey Devil. Yet, it wasn't until 1909 that the creature would once again surge into the public view. It was in the week of January 16, 1909, when strange tracks began to be seen in snow throughout the Delaware Valley. Several other sightings of similar tracks began to be reported near the larger cities of Camden and even Philadelphia. At first, no one knew what these were. No one even thought of the Jersey Devil since this was far outside its normal hunting grounds. Then the eyewitness reports came in. People claimed that attacks took place at a social club in Camden. Trolley cars in both Haddon Heights and Burlington were terrorized. People saw this beast running through the streets or over rooftops. Firemen supposedly tried to fend it off with a hose, but the monster turned on them. Others claimed that hunting dogs refused to track it, instead howling furiously out of fear. One claimed she saved her dog from becoming its dinner by beating the creature with a broom until it flew away. Across the state, people were reporting killings of livestock, the bodies supposedly mutilated by the beast. Eyewitness descriptions of the creature varied, with some saying it looked like a large bird or a kangaroo. The sightings of the creature continued until January 23rd, when everything seemed to calm back down. Over the decades, there have been more sightings of the Jersey Devil, yet they have never matched the sheer volume of that one week in 1909. While scientists can usually explain some of the supposed monsters away, such as the chupacabra being nothing more than coyotes with a horrible case of mange, there is very little to explain away the reported Jersey Devil. Many believe that the reputation of the Pine Barrens themselves might have helped in allowing the legends of the creature to take place. In the early colonial days, the Barrens were considered a rough place, where only the lowest of the low in society would go. Some believe that the inhabitants of the Barrens also encouraged the story themselves, believing that it would keep outsiders away and allow the denizens peace and quiet to live their lives as they see fit. And that is the story of the Jersey Devil. Thank you so much for watching this Tales of Earth video. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe and let us know what you'd like us to cover in the comments below.